So I was watching the Blues game the other night, and I was at a buddy's place watching it, and I got talking to this girl for a while, and we were having a really good conversation for a few minutes during the game, just having a good time, and we got into kind of an emotional conversation where you really kind of get to know someone, and it's kind of rare almost, you know what I mean? Usually these kind of things just progress into small talk, but we actually got to talking about some pretty heavy stuff. And in the middle of the conversation, she had a text message show up, and it binged right in her pocket, and of course I expected us to continue to talk. But instead of continuing to talk, she held up her hand, stopped the conversation, and then reached into her pocket and proceeded to text this person back in the middle of our conversation. And the weirdest thing about it was the fact that she didn't even seem to realize how phenomenally rude that was of her to do. So I didn't even say anything else to her the rest of that night. I just got up as soon as she did that, walked over and talked to a few other friends. Didn't make any other pass at her, nothing else. Had wanted nothing to do with her. Because I really think of myself as a non-judgmental person, but if I had to say there's one litmus test for a first impression where I decide if I want to make that person a friend or a potential friend, it's taking your phone out in the middle of a conversation. If you can't talk to someone and have a conversation without taking out your phone and texting in the middle of it, you are an asshole. You are an insecure, socially retarded asshole who has no conception of kindness and no conception of courtesy. You need to reevaluate how you talk to people. Think about, and what's weird is, I bet people watching this are going to think, hell, I do that all the time, and I'll admit, I do that too, and I've really consciously started working against doing this, but it's become so pervasive that it's not even thought of as weird. You'll be in the middle of a conversation with someone, and if they get a text message, some people will almost pause the conversation for you to return that text message, because it's gotten to the point where we always prioritize these digital little bullshit electric messages over real people in the real world. And it drives me crazy, because what you're saying when you take out your phone, you're tacitly admitting and saying, yeah, I realize that we're having a conversation right now and that you and I are talking in real life, but I don't give a shit about that because you are not important enough to take priority over this insipid little bullshit message that I'm sending to my friend or to whoever. And it really just incites my ire. It pisses me off like nothing else, because it really shows the only person who can do something like this is the person who has no conception of how rude they're being. They have no idea. And that's an indication of someone who is a social failure, someone who does not know what they're doing, someone who is so terrified of being thought of as a social pariah that they're willing to just throw aside all real life conversations and constantly be tittering away on their little bullshit texting, and it pisses me off. It's not okay, it's not courteous, and if you're someone who does this regularly, you need to reevaluate the way you talk to people, because I guarantee no one likes talking to you. And the worst kind of person with this is a person who you can talk to and you will make eye contact with while they talk about their half of a conversation, and then when you start to talk back, they take out their phone. If you take out your phone after someone begins talking to you and it's agreed upon that you're having a conversation, you deserve to get kicked in the face and leave that establishment, wherever the hell you are. I honestly have this just big pet peeve, this swelling anger inside me for when people do this. When I'm talking to someone at my apartment or out to dinner or anywhere, and we are in the middle of something and they take out their phone and start texting, I want to kick them in the head, because they don't even realize how selfish they're being. And only someone who is blissfully unaware of how narcissistic they are could do this. Because anyone with any semblance of, social knowledge would realize, hey, maybe I should listen to this person because they just listened to me for a while and it's established that we're having a conversation. Maybe it's not a good idea for me to completely shirk my social responsibility and ignore them and be a complete asshat. But no, everybody's totally fine with it nowadays. That's normal, that's cool, that's fine, whatever, because we're all expected to take the back seat to the text message. It's expected that we put those things first, and I think that's horseshit. And the biggest bullshit thing about it is if I checked that person's text message, I guarantee it wouldn't be like, go to the hospital, little Jimmy's dying, or oh shit, the dog's sick, or something of actual merit. It's going to be the same insipid bullshit, probably not even organizationally having any merit, as in they're not actually organizing any plans. They're just throwing back bullshit messages back and forth, which is fine if you want to do that when you're not talking to someone else. But if you're in the middle of a conversation with another human being and you take out your phone and start texting, you are basically wearing a shirt that says, Hi, my name is socially inconsiderate bastard. I'm too insecure to look you in the eyes and socialize. That kind of rhymed. Maybe I should make a shirt about that. But that's exactly what it says. So just think about that next time you take out your phone in a social situation. Think about the implications of it. Think about what you're saying to that person as a tacit admission of how boring you find them and how superior you find yourself. Because people aren't methods of entertainment. People aren't there to keep you entertained. And that's the problem, is because this entire mindset of jumping to conclusions about being awkward and immediately grabbing electronics to get us out of potentially awkward situations, it all comes out of the fact that we are expected to be entertained at all times. We have computers, we have phones, we have TVs, we have music, we have everything imaginable that we can do at all times. And so we've come to the expectation that we need to be entertained at all times. Heaven forbid that we have a lull in a conversation where everybody sits quietly and thinks about the implications of what's been said. Heaven forbid that two people just make eye contact and it's understood that those people are thinking about the topic at hand. It's not awkward to have a pause in a conversation. It's just not. And if you jump to the conclusion that it's awkward every time there is, I'm sorry, but you need to reevaluate your social skills, because it's simply not. I mean, I can't even fathom how, it's unbelievable to me how many people in my generation act like this. How many people are so blissfully unaware of how rude they are while doing these things every day. And it's not even just the same, it's not just douchebags. I'd like to say that these are all Jersey Shore assholes and that we can all gather together on this channel and look at them and scoff and say, you assholes, we all hate you, but we're good people. No, I guarantee, myself included, in addition to probably some of my audience, we've done this too. And it's a battle every day for us, because every time we're in a social situation in this generation, we're expected to be doing something. Even walking down the street, if you don't have your phone in your hand, if you're not doing something, people will look at you like, oh, what are they doing? Just kind of walking? Yeah, I guess they don't have anybody to talk to. They must not be cool. And that's the kind of what you're supposed to infer from our social paradigm. And it's very frustrating to me, because it's completely destroyed human discourse. It's obliterated any semblance of conversational art that we have. Because now, as opposed to people being willing to sit down and talk about something of merit, something that can actually change your worldview, we would rather spew out gobs of bullshit, of just gossip and horse shit and stuff that has no place in conversation whatsoever, just to get rid of the potential for awkwardness. Just the potential for awkwardness. We would rather talk about stupid Jersey Shore-esque horse shit than talk about something of intellectual merit, just because things that are talked about that have intellectual merit are often challenging. And heaven forbid you challenge someone on a belief, because if you challenge someone on a belief, that could lead to awkwardness, and oh no, we are terrified of awkwardness. No, that's not how human discourse works, and it pisses me off to no end. So I guess on an ending note, if you are one of these people who every time you're in a conversation with someone, you take out your phone and you start texting, or every time you go to someone's house, you take out your phone and start texting, or every time you go out to dinner, you take out your phone and start texting, think about what you're saying to the other people at that table. Think about what you're saying to the other people in that apartment. Think about what you're saying to the other people in that home. You are saying that you are so freaking selfish that you can't even hold a conversation, or even if you're not interested in what the other person is saying, you can't even feign interest just to be courteous. That's what you're saying about yourself. So if you ever have a conversation with someone and the first conversation you have with them, they take out their phone and start texting, I encourage you to kick that person square in the nose and tell them to go fuck themselves, because they are a detriment to human discourse.